What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Tuesday, January 16th, 2024, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now it is 6:26 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some more major breaking news coming in from the Middle East and from Eastern Europe. So, last night I reported that Iran launched missiles at the U.S. consulate in Iraq. And what's interesting is that the U.S. is now denying that that happened. U.S. officials are officially denying reports by Iraqi security officials stating that no American facilities were damaged by the Iranian ballistic missile attack on the city of Erbil in northern Iraq. They said that they tracked the missiles which impacted northern Iraq and northern Syria, and that no U.S. personnel or facilities were targeted. Guys, I think that's a total lie and a cover up. Okay. Iraqi security officials did confirm 100% that these missiles hit the U.S. consulate. Now, there's been all different kinds of stories coming out. One of them was saying that they hit the Mossad headquarters in Erbil, which, as far as I know, Mossad did not have a headquarters in Erbil or Iraq at all. I looked into it, and Mossad does not have any facilities there. And the other theory that was floating around is that they didn't actually hit the consulate, but they hit right next to it. Guys, that's just total BS, okay? Why would they launch a dozen missiles only to land right next to the consulate? Just doesn't make any sense. So to me, this is a cover story. They don't want the sheeple to know the truth. They don't want you to know the truth. They want you to continue to work, pay your taxes, pay your bills, and don't worry about anything that's going on and trust in the Biden administration. That's all. Okay. They don't want you to know what's really going on. Okay. But Iraqi security officials did say last night that these missiles hit the U.S. consulate. Okay. So you can believe what you want, but I know what I believe, and the U.S. is officially denying that there were any U.S. personnel or facilities targeted. How convenient! And it also appears that the IRGC targeted some kind of base in Syria near Aleppo that belonged to ISIS. And we have some more breaking news coming in. Iran also struck Western Pakistan today. Okay, so Iran is just going wild. They're firing missiles at everybody. Okay, at Iraq, at Syria, and now Western Pakistan, guys. Pakistan is a nuclear armed country. They have several hundred nuclear warheads. Okay, so Iran is just really cruising for a bruising here, guys. They're going after everybody and anybody. And what you're looking at here on the screen is an official tweet from Tasnim, which is the Iranian state media agency. And they're showing a picture of the missiles that they launched towards Pakistan. Okay, and it says here bombardment with missiles and drones targeted the headquarters of the terror organization Army of Justice. Violent missile bombardment targeted the headquarters of the terror group Abyin on the Iranian Pakistani border. But these missiles actually landed in Pakistan, guys, in Pakistani territory, okay, within the borders of Pakistan. And the prime minister of Iraq said that the attack on Erbil is a clear aggression against Iraq. And the national security advisor to the Iraqi prime minister, Qasim al Araji, apparently arrived at the impact site earlier today where the Iranian ballistic missiles landed and is now leading an investigation into the situation. And Pakistan is now saying that the strikes were a violation of Pakistan's sovereignty and that the responsibility for the consequences will lie squarely with Iran. Apparently, Iran did not communicate to Pakistan that they were striking these groups in Western Pakistan. Okay, so Pakistan, a nuclear armed country, is now threatening Iran, saying that the consequences will lie squarely with Iran. And apparently, the U.S. launched another operation in Yemen today. The U.S. targeted and destroyed 4 Iranian made ballistic missiles used by the Houthis. According to a U.S. official, they were being prepared to target commercial ships in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, according to the U.S. official. And apparently, the U.S. used Tomahawk missiles to strike the site where the anti ship cruise missiles and ballistic missiles were located. Okay, so these are Iranian made ballistic missiles and cruise missiles. And there was also another cargo vessel that was attacked, actually, several cargo vessels that have been attacked today. And I want to just read to you the official press release from US CENTCOM, but there's also other incidents in the Red Sea that occurred that they have not commented about, but they did confirm at least one ship was attacked by some kind of object. On January 16th at approximately 1:45 p.m. Yemen time, Iranian-backed Houthi militants launched an anti-ship ballistic missile from Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen into international shipping lanes in the southern Red Sea. Merchant vessel Zographia, a Maltese flagged bulk carrier, reported they were struck but seaworthy and were continuing their Red Sea transit. No injuries were reported. Additionally, following the January 15 attack, that was the attack yesterday on the American owned ship, the MV Gibraltar Eagle, a Marshall Islands flagged U.S. owned and operated container ship. And they say here that additionally today at approximately 4:15 a.m. Yemen time, U.S. forces struck and destroyed 4 Houthi anti-ship ballistic missiles. These missiles were prepared to launch from Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen and presented an imminent threat to both merchant and U.S. ships in the region. So the situation is continuing to escalate, guys. They're firing more and more missiles at ships in the Red Sea. And I want to just show you guys a map here showing the distance that this Iranian ballistic missile traveled to hit the target in Syria. Apparently, they hit an ISIS location, which I think could be a lie, BS of some kind. But apparently, this was the longest range missile attack in Iranian history. The missile flew over 760 miles. Okay. And an Iranian national possibly involved with the ballistic missile attack on Erbil was arrested in the city of Erbil by Kurdish security forces on charges of espionage. And he could have been doing battle damage assessment for the Iranians or providing targeting information. Okay. So the situation is spiraling out of control in the Middle East. We also have some very concerning information coming out of Eastern Europe. Belarus has now created a nuclear war doctrine. I'm going to read to you something about that. But here we have some kind of a incident this evening in the Red Sea. This is coming from the British Maritime Organization. They're saying that they received a report of an unidentified aerial vehicle sighted approximately 150 nautical miles southeast of Ash Shear in Yemen. Authorities are investigating. And then here's another one: suspicious approach. The British Maritime Organization has received a report from the master of a vessel approximately 57 nautical miles north of Al Asab, Eritrea. 4 suspicious small craft came to within 400 meters. Armed guards fired 4 warning shots into the water. The small craft then departed the area. Vessel and crew are safe. Vessel continuing to the next port of call. And then here was the attack that occurred earlier. Okay. The British MTO received a report of an incident approximately 100 nautical miles northwest of Salif, Yemen. company security officer reports vessel has been hit by an unknown object in the cargo hold. There is damage above the waterline. There are no fires and no casualties. Vessels and crew are safe. Vessel continues to the next port of call. Okay, so these attacks are continuing, guys. They're actually getting worse and worse. Okay, more and more attacks every single day. And the chairman of the Suez Canal Authority said the number of ships that cross through the Suez Canal have decreased by 30% in the first half of January. Okay, 30% decrease in ships crossing through the Suez Canal. That is huge. And British oil giant Shell suspended deliveries through the Red Sea amid fears of escalation between Houthi fighters and the Western coalition. This was reported by the Wall Street Journal. Okay, so Shell is no longer going through the Red Sea. And French President Emmanuel Macron said that France stayed out of the British US coalition that carried out the airstrikes against the Houthi rebels due to a fear of escalation, guys. And that's the problem, is this fear of escalation. I don't understand where it comes from, but it makes us look so weak, okay? We have the most powerful military in the world. NATO is the most powerful military alliance in the world, and we're acting like we're the weakest, okay? And that's the problem. And a Yemen military source said that the Yemen response to the American British aggression will be broad, strong, and unexpected from the Americans or the British. Okay, I'll repeat that again. The Yemeni response to the British American aggression will be broad, strong, and unexpected. Wow, guys, that is a serious threat. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, they have brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparewith.nyprepper.com. The link is in the description below this video. But this 3-month emergency food supply is freeze dried, so it has a 25-year shelf life. And it's all contained within 6 rugged water resistant buckets, and free shipping is included. So again, use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply. It's really a no-brainer. 25-year shelf life. You don't have to worry about your food preps going bad. You don't have to worry about rotating anything. And it's all contained within 6 buckets. So you can find the space to store 6 buckets, guys. And they also have a general store. If you click on the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnyprepper.com, you can access their general store, and they have all kinds of prepping and survival items for sale. They have MREs, they have survival seeds, they have potassium iodide, they have survival bars. So check it out. Preparewithnyprepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply, and the link is in the description below this video. And the New York Times is reporting that nearly 5,700 Hamas tunnel shafts have been built in Gaza. And an IDF officer says that Israeli forces have uncovered booby-trapped tunnels with bombs hidden in walls. Okay, almost 6,000 tunnel shafts built in Gaza, guys, with booby traps all over the place. And the Islamic resistance in Iraq is claiming responsibility for an attack on central Israel. Israel has not confirmed this yet, but here's their official statement where they claim responsibility for this attack on central Israel. And Israeli reserve forces held an exercise simulating a ground assault on Lebanon, and the IDF bombed 27 Hezbollah targets in a wave of air and artillery strikes earlier today. This is being reported by Israeli News 12. Okay, so Israeli reserve forces are practicing a ground assault in Lebanon. I'm telling you, that's going to be the next place that Israel goes. They're going to go into Lebanon. They're going to try to take out Hezbollah, okay? And the defense minister of Belarus said today that they're going to put forth a new military doctrine in Belarus that will, for the first time, provide for the use of nuclear weapons. Okay, Belarus has never had a nuclear weapons doctrine, and they're going to have one now. So that is very, very concerning, guys. Okay, and apparently the doctrine is going to go in front of the parliament in Belarus, and they're going to vote on it. And Security Council Secretary of Belarus, Alexander Volfovich, said that the deployment of Russian nuclear weapons in Belarus is intended to deter aggression from Poland. Unfortunately, statements made by our neighbors, in particular Poland, forced us to strengthen our military doctrine. Okay, so Belarus has Russian nuclear weapons on their territory. They're under the Russian nuclear umbrella, but Russia actually moved tactical nuclear weapons into Belarus and trained Belarus on how to use them. Most likely Iskander missiles, which are basically like a Scud missile, and they probably have some small nuclear warheads on them, and then probably also some kind of jet launched cruise missiles or hypersonic missiles with nuclear warheads on them. And Putin said at a press conference today that he rejects any negotiations or peace deal with Ukraine. He said that regarding the negotiation process, this is an attempt to get us to abandon the gains we have made over the last year and a half, but that is impossible. Everyone must understand that this is impossible. Okay, so Putin is not going to go for a peace deal. He's not going to go for any negotiation. The only thing he's going to go for is basically Ukraine completely surrendering. Okay, and Ukraine is not going to do that. So it's going to continue to escalate over there. Russia is planning a massive offensive starting in February once the ground freezes, and this is coming from the Institute for the Study of War. Okay, they're usually very conservative. They're the complete opposite of conspiracy theorists. Okay, they're all about facts and everything. And they're saying that Russia is preparing a massive offensive in February that could last all the way through the springtime. And interestingly, that's the same time that NATO is going to be holding the largest exercise that they've done since the Cold War. And Britain is going to be moving 20,000 troops to Poland and the Baltic countries, which is the largest mobilization of troops that Britain has done since 40 years. Okay. They haven't moved 20,000 troops in 40 years, guys. Okay. Putin also claimed that the Russian armed forces have an upper hand in Ukraine and that the war, if it continues, threatens the very existence of the Ukrainian state. He also mentioned the Baltic countries. He said that Russian people are being thrown out of them and that this affects the security of Russia. Wow, guys. So there's his reasoning, his justification for attacking the Baltics. Okay, that's what's going to happen. I think he's going to go after Estonia, Latvia. He may try to make a land bridge to Kaliningrad. So we have to be on high alert, guys. Okay, and Putin met with the North Korean foreign minister today, and Secretary General of NATO Jens Stoltenberg said supporting Ukraine is not a charity, it is an investment in our own security. And for the first time since World War II, Czech artillerymen participate in a foreign mission with the heaviest equipment that they have. Apparently, the 13th Artillery Regiment was sent to Lithuania. Okay, so all these countries in Europe are sending their forces to Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and Poland. They wouldn't be doing that for no reason, guys. Okay, and this is the first time since World War II that Czech artillerymen have been sent outside of the Czech Republic. Okay, so that's pretty ominous. And according to a Polish media outlet, Poland is going to double the number of their reserves to be called up in 2024. And they're also planning to increase the number of their National Guard to up to 200,000. Okay, so doubling their military reserves this year. And they're going to build up their National Guard, their Territorial Defense Force, to up to 200,000. Okay, and that's not including their regular army and their navy and everything else. That's just a territorial defense force, which is like a quick reaction force that's specifically made for responding to an invasion and also any kind of natural disasters or other types of disasters. Okay. And finally, Tinder is going to stop working in Belarus. And the Taiwan military is reporting that more Chinese aircraft and naval vessels were spotted near Taiwan. They detected 15 aircraft and 3 naval vessels earlier today. Okay, and let me just show you guys this map that they have here showing the locations of some of these vessels and some of these planes here. I don't really know what this means, but it looks like some of them were spotted over here. And they say that 2 of the aircraft entered Taiwan's southwestern ADIZ. That's their air defense identification zone. Okay. And also, apparently, there was another Chinese balloon that crossed the Taiwan Strait. So, China is sending dozens of balloons to Taiwan. Very unusual. We have this interesting press release coming from Central Command saying that Central Command seized Iranian advanced conventional weapons bound for Yemen. Okay, you see how they're trying to tie Iran to Yemen, Iran to the Houthis, because all roads lead to Iran. Okay, they need a justification to attack Iran, and they want to get global support for this massive strike on Iran. And one way to do that is to prove that Iran is obstructing international shipping lanes. Okay, so let me just read this to you. On January 11th, 2024, while conducting a flag verification, U.S. CENTCOM Navy forces conducted a nighttime seizure of a DHO conducting illegal transport of advanced lethal aid from Iran to resupply Houthi forces in Yemen as part of the Houthis' ongoing campaign of attacks against international merchant shipping. U.S. Navy SEALs operating from USS Lewis B. Puller, supported by helicopters and UAVs, executed a complex boarding of the Dhow near the coast of Somalia in international waters of the Arabian Sea, seizing Iranian made ballistic missiles and cruise missiles components. Seized items include propulsion, guidance, and warheads for Houthi medium range ballistic missiles and anti ship cruise missiles, as well as air defense associated components. Initial analysis indicates these same weapons have been employed by the Houthis to threaten and attack innocent mariners on international merchant ships transiting the Red Sea. This is the first seizure of lethal Iranian supplied advanced conventional weapons to the Houthis since the beginning of Houthi attacks against merchant ships in November 2023. The interdiction also constitutes the first seizure of advanced Iranian manufactured ballistic missile and cruise missile components by the U.S. Navy since November 2019. The direct or indirect supply or transfer of weapons to the Houthis in Yemen violates UN Security Resolution 2216 and international law. Okay, so you see what they're doing here, guys? They're connecting Iran to the Houthis, saying that Iran is supplying ballistic missiles and missile components. And they're saying clearly right here that these components are being used to attack international shipping lanes, and that this is a violation of a UN security resolution and international law. So that's what they need, guys. They need international support for this operation in Iran to denuclearize and demilitarize Iran. Okay, they want to completely annihilate the Iranian military and the Iranian nuclear program. They've wanted to do it for many, many years. They know that Iran is building up their nuclear weapons. They've already tripled their enriched uranium production. They've kicked out international inspectors. So I think the U.S. is going to strike Iran very, very soon, along with Israel. I think they might actually go after Hezbollah first and deal with Hezbollah, and then deal with the Houthis and the Iranian proxies in Iraq before they make their big strike on Iran. And 2 U.S. Navy SEALs previously reported as lost at sea were directly involved in this operation. We are conducting an exhaustive search for our missing teammates, said General Michael Eric Kurilla, U.S. CENTCOM commander. So, isn't that interesting, guys? Okay, they said that these 2 Navy SEALs fell overboard and they got lost at sea. How do we know that? How do we know that they weren't shot while they were boarding or something happened? Okay, but this is huge news, guys. Okay. It is clear that Iran continues shipment of advanced lethal aid to the Houthis. This is yet another example of how Iran actively sows instability throughout the region in direct violation of UN Security Resolution 2216 and international law, said General Michael Kurilla. We will continue to work with regional and international partners to expose and interdict these efforts and ultimately to reestablish freedom of navigation. Okay, so they're making the connection, guys. Okay, so it's coming. Get prepared. I'm very concerned about what's going to happen the coming months in Ukraine. Russia is going to launch this massive counteroffensive before Ukraine gets more military aid. Potentially, they're going to attack NATO when we transition between presidents. Potentially, we're going to see a massive operation in Iran. We're going to see Iran striking more U.S. and allied facilities with their missiles. They've already launched missiles at the consulate. I don't care what anybody says. They did not hit Mossad headquarters. That's a lie. They did not miss. Okay. And now they see that we didn't respond to that. So far, we haven't. Okay. So they're going to do more. Okay. It's just like a bad kid. Okay. If you don't punish a bad kid, he's going to keep being bad. And that's what's going to happen because we're not responding soon enough. Okay. So get prepared, guys. Things are continuing to escalate around the world. I will be back either later on tonight or tomorrow with more updates. I'm sorry I didn't have an update earlier today. I had some personal matters, very important personal matters to take care of. Don't worry, nothing's wrong. It's actually something very good. I'll talk to you guys about that sometime in the near future. But that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon below so you get notified when I post these updates. And until next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.